every single morning. Millions of people walk into a local store, grab a $5 box of cereal, pay at the register, and walk out. They think it's simple. A basic transaction. Store buys cereal, marks up the price, and pockets the profit. Except, that is a complete lie. If a multi-billion-dollar retail titan actually relied on store markups to make its money, it would go bankrupt within a month. The real profit, the mind-blowing billion-dollar treasury, isn't made on the retail shelf at all. It is extracted deep inside a hidden network of concrete giants. Massive, windowless distribution hubs sitting silently off forgotten highway exits. Facilities so brutally efficient, they don't just store boxes. They literally bend financial math, manipulate time, and force massive global suppliers to pay for their expansion. So, how does a building packed with cardboard, forklifts, and concrete floors become a high-frequency cash-printing machine? And what is the terrifying financial trap buried inside these hubs that allows them to generate higher profit margins per square foot than an Apple store? While selling products for pennies, by the end of this, you will never look at a retail store, a truck, or a simple price tag the same way ever again. To understand how this machine works, we have to break down a real case study, the story of a single, basic wooden dining table. Imagine a manufacturer in North Carolina. They build a table for $50. An ordinary store buys that table, pays $20 to ship it, puts it on a showroom floor, and sits on it for 3 long months waiting for a buyer. For 90 days, that store's cash is trapped inside a piece of wood. They are bleeding rent, burning electricity, and paying interest on loans just to keep the lights on. Now, let's look at how the billion-dollar titan handles that exact same table. They don't buy one table. They order 50,000 of them at once. But here is where the financial trap springs open. They force the manufacturer to agree to 90-day payment terms. That means the retail giant receives the tables today, but doesn't have to hand over a single dime of real cash for 3 full months. Now, the clock starts ticking, but instead of letting that table sit in a store, it gets rushed straight into a mega distribution hub. If that table stays inside the distribution hub for more than 48 hours, the system flags it as a financial emergency. Why? Because speed is the entire secret to printing money out of thin air. Inside these massive regional hubs, facilities spanning over 1 million square feet, equivalent to 20 football fields under one roof, the table enters a process known as cross-docking. The delivery truck backs into dock bay 102 on the west side of the building. The moment the back door opens, automated scanners read the barcode at lightning speed. Mechanical belts and heavy-duty lifts instantly move that table across the concrete floor, directly to dock bay 405 on the east side. It never touches a storage shelf. It never collects dust. In less than 20 minutes, that table is loaded onto a local delivery truck headed straight to a store that already has 3 customers searching for it. The store sells the table on day 5. The customer pays cash, $75. Now, stop and look at the math. The titan gets paid by the customer on day 5. But remember that 90-day agreement with the manufacturer. They don't have to pay for the table until day 90, for 85 days. The retail giant holds your cash. They don't put it in a safe. They throw it straight into short-term financial markets, low-risk yields, and rapid expansion projects. Multiply that single table by millions of daily products. And suddenly, the distribution center isn't a warehouse at all. It is a zero-cost liquidity engine, an invisible bank powered by products they haven't even paid for yet. But wait, if the cash flow is so perfect, where do the hidden operational costs go? How do you maintain a machine this massive without burning up all those micro-profits on fuel, labor, and massive utility bills? This brings us to the brutal cost structure and a genius piece of financial engineering hidden inside the fleet. Operating a megahub requires staggering amounts of capital. You have multi-million-dollar energy grids, climate-controlled cold zones for fresh groceries, and thousands of workers. But the single biggest expense that kills standard logistics companies is fuel and transportation. If a truck drives down the highway half empty, That trip loses money. To solve this, the network runs on absolute volume density. Every single truck leaving a distribution center is packed using algorithmic 3D Tetris software. Not an inch of air is wasted. If a box has 2 inches of empty space inside, the system flags the supplier for wasting vehicle volume. In fact, if a vendor ships goods in boxes that aren't perfectly optimized for the hub's automated conveyor belts, the system issues an automated financial penalty. Read that again. The retail titan doesn't just cut costs. They literally fine their own suppliers for making the distribution center slightly less efficient. And then, there's the human element inside the building, a micro-story of extreme precision. Picture a worker inside the hub named Marcus. Marcus wears a digital scanner on his wrist. The system doesn't just tell Marcus which aisle to walk down. It calculates the exact number of steps he should take. It tells him to lift box A, turn 90 degrees, and place it on belt 3 in precisely 11 seconds. If Marcus hesitates for 4 seconds, the central algorithm detects the drop in metric efficiency. To the untrained eye, this looks like intense workplace monitoring, but to Wall Street investors, this microsecond precision across tens of thousands of workers is what protects a multi-billion-dollar margin. If every worker across the network loses just 5 seconds per hour, the company loses tens of millions of dollars in total yearly velocity. Every movement, every step, every breath is mapped to protect the micro margin. So, how does a business built on thin, 2% profit margins turn into an unstoppable billion-dollar kingdom that competitors can't touch? It's all about scale, density, and what experts call the regional network effect. When a small business builds a warehouse, they pay full price for real estate, third-party trucking, and local energy rates. But when a titan builds a cluster of 5 mega hubs strategically placed around a major highway network, the dynamic flips completely. If Hub A experiences an unexpected surge in demand, say, an unexpected heat wave driving up air conditioner sales, Hub B and Hub C instantly reroute incoming shipments to absorb the shock. They own their own private fleet of thousands of trucks, because they control the roads, the hubs, and the store docks. Their shipping cost per item drops to a tiny fraction of a cent per mile. A small competitor trying to match their prices has to pay standard freight rates. They lose money on every single sale. While the Titan continues to print billions, they don't just win on low prices. They make competition mathematically impossible. Yet, despite this fortress-level dominance, this multi-billion-dollar machine sits on top of a massive, dangerous financial threat. What happens when the human workers inside these hubs can no longer keep up with the algorithm? Or worse, what happens when consumer habits shift so violently that the entire physical layout of these hubs becomes useless overnight? Here is the nightmare scenario facing executives right now. These massive hubs were designed for one specific job, taking full pallets of goods from huge suppliers and shipping them in large trucks to physical retail stores. But modern consumers aren't just walking into stores anymore. They are tapping their phones, ordering single tubes of toothpaste, and expecting them delivered to their front door in under 2 hours. Shipping a wooden dining table to a store is easy. Shipping a single box of Band-Aids to a suburb 20 miles away is an operational disaster. It forces these multi-million-dollar hubs to completely rewrite their operational blueprint. If they fail to adapt, nimble e-commerce giants armed with micro-fulfillment centers will chew through their market share, piece by piece. So, how are they fighting back? How do you future-proof an empire built on concrete and steel? The answer is taking the human element out of the building entirely. We are already entering the era of the dark distribution center, massive hubs operating in complete, total darkness. Why dark? Because machines don't need lights to see. They don't need heating. They don't get tired, and they don't make 4-second mistakes. Inside these next-generation hubs, advanced AI algorithms analyze weather patterns, local economic data, and social media trends to predict what people will buy, days before they even know they want it. If a severe storm is forecasted to hit a coastal city in 6 days, The system automatically moves generators, batteries, and canned food into the nearest distribution hub, without a single human store manager ever placing an order. The future of making billions in logistics isn't just about moving goods fast. It's about moving them before the customer even clicks buy. Now, step back and look at the whole picture. The next time you walk into a store, grab an item off the shelf and see that shockingly low price tag. Remember what you are really paying for. You aren't just buying a product. You are looking at the final, tiny step of a massive, ruthless, hyper-engineered financial engine. An engine that bends time, holds onto free cash flow, tracks human motion down to the second, and turns simple cardboard and concrete into pure, multi-billion-dollar dominance.